It's not hangout time. I know I'm on the floor. You think that's hangout time, but it's not hangout time. Welcome back, everybody. We're doing a couple of back stretches, a little bit of mobility, helping you a little bit with your posture, strengthening up some muscles in your shoulders and your low back, mid back. And we're going to get started right away with some basic cat cows, just a little tiny bit of mobility to help get rid of that stiffness in your body because you just probably got out of bed. All right, let's get into some cat cows. If you have some cushioning, feel free to hop on down onto that. But we're not going to work that hard. You don't need a ton of padding. The cat cow looks a little bit like this. We're going to stick our hands underneath our shoulders. We're going to stick our knees underneath our hips. We're going to try and get into this position on all fours. Then we're going to really focus on sticking the belly button down into the ground and arching the back. Then we're going to keep on trying to lift your chin up while bringing that belly button down. See if you can get a nice stretch in the front here and also get a lot of that spine. Whew, nice and arched. Then we're going to do the opposite. Take that mid back, try to lift it up into the air. Oh, yeah, round out that back. Tuck your chin to your chest, stretch it out, and whew, that's one. Let's keep going. Let's do like five. Look up, belly button down, arch in the back, and let's round ultimate slouchiness, except it turns into a stretch. Whew, all right, that's two. Up and down. Take your time with this. I say five. I'm going to do five at my speed. You can do five at whatever speed that you want. All right, that's three. Whew. Oh man, feeling a huge stretch right underneath my shoulder blades when we do the background. That's a little unusual for me. So I'll keep an eye on that. Maybe something else to work on. All right. Whew. All right. We've done a little bit for loosening up the spine. I want you to do a little bit of hip circles, right? Just to get a little bit of movement so that when we start doing a little bit of stretching, when we start doing a little bit of muscle contraction, your muscles are already more or less awake, right? Slowly come on through that range of motion. You can do this kneeling. You can do this standing. Stick your hips out. Ooh, thank you for the cowboy hat. And round all the way for YouTube. If you're confused about the cowboy hat, it's because I also go live on TikTok at the same time. Somebody sent some cowboy stuff. Whew. All right. Shake out your legs. Shake out your arms. Flop around. Get loose. Get relaxed. And let's talk about some other things that we can stretch out. Right? One thing that most of us have pretty stuck and jammed up is the shoulders. I haven't covered this in the past, so this will be the first time. I want you to sit down. I want you to take your hands. I want you to point your middle finger behind you. All right, so you're rotating your palms so that they're behind you. Cool? When you got them placed down, I want you to try and scoot your butt forward a little bit. Have your arms come back a little bit. And I want you to contract your shoulder blades together so that your arms stay relatively close together. All right? Some of you are going to have not enough flexibility to go very far, but I want you to keep on bringing your shoulder blades together while your arms are placed underneath you, and slowly wiggle your butt away. All right? Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Wiggle some more. Try to keep your arms relatively close together, and you should feel at some point a nice stretch here, maybe in the chest, maybe a whole bunch of contraction, a whole bunch of tension in the actual shoulder blade, and we're just going to hang out for a little bit. All right, let's say 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. You don't have to go very hard. If anything feels crazy intense, bring your butt back towards your arms. All right, 24, 23, 22. Experiment with it. See if you can round your shoulders again. See if you can pull your shoulders back behind you. Tuck your head, untuck your head. Find some movement. All right. We're stretching to get the muscles loose. But at the end of the day, what's most important is that you understand how your body works. You figure out what feels awful, what feels a little better, what feels less bad. And once you understand what feels good, you can give yourself as much stretching, as much movement as you need. All right? I have completely forgotten to count. So let's just say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. For most of us, your shoulders probably don't do very much for you. So that stretch might have felt really intense. If you really, really, really try to go really far forward, that might feel intense. So please dial it back a little notch. You don't have to go that hard. All right. Feeling the stretch a little bit is plenty. All right. Whew. That is a little bit in the shoulder, a little bit in the back. We've kind of done this chunk of our back side of the body. Let's just get into some exercise, all right? We're going to slowly work on contracting the muscles in the spine, and we're going to help wake up our shoulders, help wake up our neck, help wake up the low back and the mid back. All right. What I want you to do is try your best to come on down, lay down on the ground. Whew. If you're on a bed right now, that's nice. You can enjoy that. You don't have to get out of bed for this. Put your head down on your forearms. So cross your forearms in front of your head like this. All right. Breathe, chill, relax. Find a nice spot for your hips so that they feel nice and stable and control. And if you have anything by your feet, you're about to kick something, just do a little wiggle, do a little shimmy, check that there's nothing in your way. And we're going to slowly try our best to lift our upper body off the ground. All right. Imagine your hips are staying down and you're going to lift everything else up. It's going to look a little like this. Ready? 3, 2, 1, lift, 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 lift. And down. That was your first time. We're going to inhale, come up, hold for a second, exhale, and come down. Ready? Let's do it again. Inhale, up, hold, exhale, and down. Woo. Should feel it a bit in the low back, right here. If you wrap your arm around and you feel your spine right now, you should feel those muscles still firing a little bit, protecting your spine. Let's go. We're going to do 5 of these. Up and down. Woo. And up and down. Remember, inhale up, hold, exhale down. I think that's 3 when I said we'll do 5 more. Inhale up, exhale down. That's 4. And let's wrap things up with number 5. Inhale up, exhale down. Woo! Hopefully, you're getting a little gentle warm up in your spine. Nothing crazy. When you get super advanced and crazy good at this, you can like really lift your back up. I'm not there. Most of us are not going to be there. So just try your best to bring your torso up as much as you can. Your belly button might stay down. Your hips might stay down. That's okay. Cool? All right. Now that we've got a little bit in our backs, let's do a little bit of cat-cow again. Because usually, once you've worked the muscles a little bit, you'll want to relax again soon after. Let's arch the spine, lift the head, and do the opposite. Exhale, round the back, tuck your chin, lift, 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 lift that mid back into the air. We're not going to do all 5 this time. We'll just do 2 or 3. And let the low back relax a little bit. All right. Back on up. And come on back down. Whew. All right, that's our cat-cows. Let's go back to the back stuff, except this time instead of lifting our upper bodies, we're going to lift our legs. All right. I want you to do basically the same thing. You can keep your head down if you want. And let's get ready to lift the legs. Take a moment, find a nice spot for your hips, get nice and stable, and contract the glutes, contract the hamstrings, point those toes, lift, 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 and down. Whew. If this is too intense for you to keep your legs fully straight, you can bend the knees a little bit. That should make it just a little bit easier. And we're going to keep going. And let's go. Let's go for 10 of these this time. Leg up. Hold. Exhale, relax. Whew. That's 1. Let's do 10. 2. Come on. Inhale. Up. Hold. Exhale. Oh, relax. Again. Inhale up. Exhale down. Whew. That's 3. Feel those glutes firing. Feel the low back firing up and down. That's 4. Keep going. Up and down. That's 5. Let's go. We're going to go for 5 more. If you need to take a break, you let your hips wiggle a little bit from side to side just to relax some muscles in your low back. That's okay. Breathe. Let's go. Inhale. Up and down. Whew. That's 6. Keep going. Inhale up and down. Whew. That's 7. Relax for a second here. Breathe. And let's go again. Inhale up. 8. And down. 9. Inhale. And down. Last one. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. We're going to hold the hold for extra long, all right? Let's go. Inhale up. Hold, 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 hold. Contract those glutes. Contract those hamstrings. Contract that low back and down. Exhale. Relax for a second. Shake out your legs. Shake out your hips. Shake, 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 shake. Help those muscles relax a little bit. You don't have to go fast. You don't have to go aggressive. Just try your best to relax those leg muscles. Oh. Whew. All right. We're going to do 2 cat cows again. Just let the back relax. Slowly get into all fours. Shoulders over the hands, over the wrists, knees under the hips. And we're going to arch that spine. Look up. And do the opposite. Tuck your chin, lift that mid back up into the air. Whew, that's 1. Let's look up, arch the back, and opposite. Round the shoulders, round the back, tuck the chin. That's 2. Let's go for 3. Up and down. Whew. Get a little bit of movement to loosen up those muscles that were working so hard when we were clenching our glutes, clenching our low back. All right? What have we done? We've done a whole bunch of stuff already today. We did some shoulder stretching. We did some cat cows. We did some lifting of the upper body, lifting of the lower body. Now we're going to combine everything in one super move. All right. We're going to contract the back. We're going to lift our chest up, but we're also going to lift our legs up at the same time. Oftentimes these are called like Supermans. I hope you're ready, because that's it. We're going. Let's do this. If you want to make it a little bit easier for yourself, you can stick your forehead onto your arms. If you want to make it a little bit harder for yourself, you can extend your arms out in front and lift up all at the same time. All right? I hope you're ready, because it's time to go. Oh, we're getting a box scoot so that the cameras are further away so you can actually see parts of my body. Sick. Thank you, camera person. Oh, big old chunk of text just appeared. Hi, hello. Okay, I can't see it from here. Or I can see that something came in, but I can't read it from here. I'll cover it in a little bit. All right, let's go. Lay down. Chill. Extend the arms if you're ready to extend the arms. Do I have a dog visitor? No, dog has left. Okay, cool. Let's go. Inhale up. Hold, 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 hold down. On that first one, if you just flop down, that's okay. But I want you to, as we progress, really focus on controlling the descent. Control coming down, nice and gentle, nice and controlled. I said controlled like a bunch of times. All right, let's go. Inhale up. Hold, 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 and down. Oh, I flopped down. I just told you to do control, and I flopped. What a shame. All right, let's do this again. Inhale up. Hold. Come down with control. Yes. Finally. I followed my own instructions. All right. Let's do this again. Number 4. Inhale up. Hold. And down. Whew. That's 5. I think. Let's go up again. Let's do 10. We're gonna do 10 everything. It's gonna be a lot, but now you know it's 10. All right, let's go up and down. I think that's 6. I'm getting really bad at counting and talking at the same time. Up and down. That's 7. If your back is tight, you need a second to breathe. Take it, and we're going again. Let's go. Inhale up. That's 8. Come on down. My left foot is cramping up a little bit when I point that toe. Inhale up. Exhale down. Whew, that's 9. All right, last one. Let's make it count. Really contract those glutes. Contract that low back. Lift your arms up. Lift that chest up off the ground. Don't stop until I tell you to. Let's go. Inhale up. Up, 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 up. Hold and slowly control. Descend down. Whoa. All right. That's 10. All right. If your low back is tired, we're going to get into something called child's pose, where we're going to drop our butt back, sit on our heels, and flop forward. Hopefully, this will let your low back relax a little bit. You can add a tiny little shake from side to side, a little wiggle. You can try to bend a little to the right, bend a little to the left to help those muscles chill out in the spine. Give yourself a couple seconds to breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And whew, we're going to move on. What we're going to do next is still back related, posture related stuff. We're going to work on something called wall angels. And they're not going to be easy. They're actually going to be really difficult. So don't worry about doing these perfectly. Just try your best. All right. What I want you to do is get your butt up to a wall. You can do these seated if you want, like so. So your butt's against the wall, your shoulders against the wall, your head is against the wall. You can do these standing. You might want to tuck your butt cheeks in towards the front so that your low back can rest against the wall. Your shoulders, your head are all resting against the wall. My feet are slightly in front of me, about 6 to 8 inches in front of me. All right. And what we're going to do here is take our elbows, bring them into the wall. Right? Imagine you're boom attacking somebody behind you. This is not a martial arts class. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Just bring your elbows to the wall, around chest height. All right. Not super low, not super crazy high, just a round shoulder level, chest high. All right. From here, we're gonna take our palms. We're gonna lift them up so that the palms are facing forward. We're gonna try our best to bring our wrists to touch the wall. And if you get stuck, you don't ever actually get there. That's okay. Neither have I. But that is the goal. The goal is to be able to rotate our shoulders backwards so that our wrists, our shoulders, and our elbows can all touch the wall, make contact. All right? Now, from here, I want you to slowly try your best to extend your arms up. Try to keep everything as close to the wall as possible. Oh, you're not pushing any weight, but I can bet you this is exhausting because you're focused on trying to lift your arms up as close to the wall as possible. Your shoulders are probably burning. We're going to do like 5 of these, and then we're going to move on. All right? 3, up and down. Keep on trying to bring your wrists to the wall, elbows to the wall, shoulders to the wall. That's 4. Come on down, nice and slow. Focus on the form. It's not about speed. It's not about racing me or racing yourself. That's 5. Oh, man. Whew. All right. So wall angels, what we just did, are really good because they do a whole bunch of different things. All right. The main thing is the shoulder blades. You probably felt when you were trying to bring your elbows back, these chunks of muscle working really hard to bring your shoulder blades back and touching together. That is good because it's the opposite of what we're usually doing when we're slouching. When we're slouching, it tends to be the case that the shoulder blades scoot out that way and your body rounds this way. So all these muscles are actually getting stretched out. What we just did for the wall angels forces us to bring our shoulders and our elbows back to try and touch the wall behind us, and we're contracting those muscles that usually get stretched, right? when your your head is also touching the wall, your elbows touching the wall, and your wrists are just desperately trying to touch the wall, helps to straighten out all of this posture. And hopefully that is something you can keep on working on because it is not easy. It is hard. You probably don't want to do more than like five at a time because they're so painfully difficult. And we're going to do some more later. But for now, we're going to let things chill. We're going to let things relax. If your muscles in the tops of your shoulders, in your traps, in your lats are all feeling a little crazy right now, take a couple seconds. Just give yourself a light massage. I tend to feel it right here in the top middle. Oh, and that's not so nice. We don't want to go through the rest of the show with a whole bunch of crazy tension. So give yourself a little bit of massage, move that arm, do some arm circles. You know what? Let's just all do arm circles. Bring your arm back so that your palm is facing forward. I want you to try and keep it facing forward as much as possible while bringing that arm down and back. And then rotate at the very end so that you bring it forward. Now you can point your thumb forward and try your best to bring that arm back and around. You know what? That's probably too many instructions. Just focus on bringing your arm back as many times as you can. How you position your palms don't really matter, but experiment with it. All right? If you want to point your thumb so that it's going back behind you, if you want to rotate your thumb so that your thumb is always in front of you, experiment. We're just working on some of that rotation in the arm. How you do it doesn't actually matter as long as you do a little bit. All right. I think we've done a whole bunch of backwards. As I'm talking about it, I really can't remember what direction we did. So whatever you're doing, just do the opposite. All right, other direction. Keep going. Oh, after doing the wall angels, your shoulders, your arms might be a little bit tired because it takes a bunch of relatively weak, relaxed muscles contracting to get into this position. Your arm circles might not be as easy as you thought they were going to be. Whew. All right, switch to the other side. Let's go back. Or just loosening up. You can take your time. You don't have to swing aggressively. You don't have to move super fast. You don't have to whip the arm around. But again, just like before, experiment with how your arms are positioned, how your arm is rotated. Have some fun with that. See if there's anything that feels particularly crazy. And if there is, maybe that's something you need to work on a little bit. All right? That's obviously up to you. If it's not something you're running into a problem with in your normal life, it's not that important. All right. Whew, hopefully, the shoulders are a little bit more relaxed. Probably still very tired, but a little bit more relaxed. We're going to go back to our back. We're going to let the shoulders relax for a little bit, and then we'll come back to them later. What I want you to do is get back into those Supermans. All right? We already warmed up with lifting the back. We warmed up with lifting the legs. We've done a working set of lifting everything all at the same time. Let's do it again. Come on down to the ground. Ugh. Hips into the ground. Do a little wiggle. Find a comfortable spot. Hopefully, all the low back muscles have gotten a chance to relax because it's time for us to go again. We're doing 10 reps. If 10 is too many and you need to stop at 8, that's okay. I understand. And let's get ready to go. Remember, we are tensing all of the muscles in our neck, in our shoulders, in our back, in our glutes, in our hamstrings, in our toes. Ready to begin? Let's go. Flop over. Chill. Last breath. Inhale. Up. Hold. And down. Whew. Nice and controlled. That's one. Let's go. Inhale up. Exhale down. That's two. Keep going. Inhale up. Flex those glutes. Flex those hamstrings. Come on down. That's three. Keep going. Up, 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 up. Exhale down. Whew. That's four. Just like before, you can experiment with the angle, how rotated your arms are, just to have a little bit of fun. Inhale up. Exhale down. Whew. That's four. Keep going. Let's go. Inhale up. Exhale down. Whew. That's five. If you need to take a little bit of break, You can let your hips wiggle from side to side a little bit. That'll help loosen up the back muscles right here by your spine. And let's go. Inhale up. Everything is good. Come on back down. That's 6. Whew. Inhale up. Everything is good. And come on back down. That's 7. Let's go. Inhale up. That's 8. Come on down. Whew. Let's go. We got 2 more. 9 and 10. Ready? Inhale up. Hold, 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 hold. Come on down. Last one. We're going to hold for a couple seconds here. All right? Don't give up. And when you're ready to come back down, take it nice and slow with control. Ready? Inhale up. 10. Up, 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 up. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Exhale slowly. Come down with control. That is 10 more of those. The reason why Supermans are awesome is because you get to work on a whole bunch of muscles at the same time. But there's a con to that, and that con is some of your muscles are going to be really good at some of the movement, and some of your muscles are just going to be super weak, and they might hold you back. That's okay for most people. All right? You don't have to worry about the details. The more things you're working on at the same time, the more efficient you are with the time. All right? For most people, you don't have to optimize for the little details. You just got to get a little bit of movement, a little bit of action. I didn't know what I was going to say, how to finish that sentence, so that was that pause. All right. Hopefully, you've taken a couple seconds. You've been breathing, you've been chilling, letting your back relax. There's probably a whole bunch of tension in your low back, in your shoulders, in your mid back. We're just going to chill. We're just going to breathe for a little bit longer. All right. If you want, you can drop into a child's pose and just flop on over. Let your low back relax. You can do a little lean to the left, a little lean to the right to help get a little bit of movement going so that there isn't as much stiffness. If you want, you can do some cat cow. Hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, round that back, super, super slouch. And then do the opposite. Bring that belly button down towards the floor. Lift your chin, look up. Put that arch in your back. And 1 or 2 of these is probably enough. Whew. Just pick a favorite, and hopefully you can use it whenever you need it. Whenever you feel like your spine is a little stiff, feel like you've been sitting for a little too long, you can get a little bit of movement with whichever version that you like the most. All right? How are we doing on time? I'm gonna crawl over, check the phone. Oh, we're about 30 minutes deep. All right. All right. All right. All right. What did I say we'd go back to? I said we go back to the wall angles. Let's do that. Let's come on over back to the wall. I demonstrated the standing version where we are trying our very best to tuck our butts so that our low back can lean against the wall, nice and flat, and then have that go up to our shoulders, have that go up to our heads. Alternatively, if that's a pain in the butt for you, you can just sit down. All right. When you are seated and you have your low back more or less against the wall, your shoulders against the wall, your head resting against the wall, we can get right back to it. I want you to take your hands, stick them out in front of you, elbow the wall as best as you can. See if you can bring your elbows to the wall. If you can't reach all the way, that's okay. Just try your best. Then we're going to rotate our arms so that we can bring our wrists to the wall as close as we can while having our palms facing forward. All right? Boom. Just try your best to get there. You'll be tempted while you're trying to lift your arms back to do this and put an arch into your back. All right? That's not where we're trying to get the motion from. We're trying to get it from the shoulder joint, not from your spine. If it happens a little bit, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. You can keep on doing it. But again, try your very bestest to get your arms to do your shoulders to do most of the work. All right? Lift, 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 lift. Wrists against the wall, palms up, or I guess palms facing forward. And we're going to lift the legs. Arms up into the air. Let's go slowly. Try to keep something against the wall if you can. If you cannot get anything to the wall, just try your best. Everything's going to be crazy anyway. But if you can get your elbows down, try your best to keep your elbows down for as far as you can and come on up. Breathe, relax, come on down. I'm basically not touching the wall at all. All right. So Don't feel like this has to be perfect in any capacity. We're just trying our best. If your fingers are tingling right now because you're like, "What is this? Where is all the blood flow going? Why are my hands going all weird?" That's okay. That's normal. You're just contracting your muscles so hard, and you're using your arms in crazy ways that they haven't been used in a while. That they're reacting. They're letting you know, "Hey, you don't do this. This is normal, right? Right? Are you trying to hurt us? No, maybe. All right. If you've done about five, you can stop." Hopefully, the really weird conversation that I had with my arms was distracting enough for you to finish up a couple more reps, because that was hard. These are called wall angels, and again, the goal is to bring your back up against the wall, bring your elbows to the wall, bring your wrists against the wall, and move. All right. For most of us, you could probably do like one side because your whole torso is leaning into it and turning into it. For most of us, you won't be able to get both your elbows down and both your wrists down. It's just something to work towards. All right. The reason why we care about these, I mentioned this earlier, is because it helps undo the muscles that are super relaxed when we slouch. When we slouch, the shoulder blades come down and out, and then your back rounds a little bit this way. Right. What we're doing when we stick the elbows back is to bring the shoulder blades in together. And when we rotate the arms up, we basically force a whole bunch of contraction here in the upper back to get us in a much nicer, straighter line. Is it a perfect replacement to counter it? Maybe not, but it counters most of the things that we're doing to ourselves. All right. Oh, that was the ball in. I think I'm ready to move on to some neck stretches. All right. I'm gonna bring a stool over so that I can get a little closer to the camera, and we're gonna talk about stretching out your neck. Hopefully, this will help a little bit with some headaches. Hopefully, this will help a little bit when you realize you've been slouching in front of your phone when you're sitting on the subway or doing whatever you're doing, and you've been feeling all that tension back here. All right, we're gonna start on the left, and we're gonna start on the sides. What I want you to do is find something to sit on. If you don't have something to sit on, that's also okay. You can just imaginarily hold something, right? But typically, I recommend you grab the bottom of your chair. Hold on, and once you got this nice straight line, I want you to slowly lean in the opposite direction. Right? So this arm is locked down, it's holding onto the bottom of the chair, and I want you to lean out that way. From here, you're gonna start feeling that stretch here in the shoulders, right? I want you to grab your head while still keeping your head facing forward, right? I don't want you to be turning or doing anything crazy. Neutral, lean. From here, I want you to grab, you might not have to do this at all, actually. You might just feel a crazy amount of stretch just by tilting your head that way. If that's enough for you, perfect. If you want to take it up a notch, you can grab your head, apply a little tiny bit of gentle pressure. It's not a, it's not a, it's a gentle. You're just petting your head, all right? And when you do that, you feel the stretch really building straight down that shoulder from the neck. This is a really easy way to get a really intense stretch in your neck. But maybe you don't have this muscle getting all tight. Maybe it's a little further back. Maybe it's a little further forward. If you tuck your chin a little bit and then you pull directly to the side, still to the side. We're not pulling down, we're pulling to the side. But if you tuck your chin a little bit and then you pull directly to the side, it will shift that muscle getting stretched back a little bit. And you'll feel it way back in the neck. Woo! We don't have to do these for exactly 10 seconds or anything in particular. All right. If you want to do one particular one for as long as you want, feel free to do that one. All right. If you want something a little closer to the front, but still on the left side, you can tilt your chin up into the air just a little bit. Doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to stick it into the sky. Just up a little bit. And same thing. We're pulling our arm directly to the right. And that should get you a little bit of a stretch, still on the left side, but a little bit more forward. All right. And you can experiment. You can lean your head back just a little bit more and see how that stretch feels as you go backwards. Whew. We're not going to go for the whole 10 seconds on each one of those angles, I don't think. Because if you have one that you like, you can spend a whole bunch of time in it while I keep on talking about all the different other ones that we're going to do. All right? Let's do the same on the other side. Take your time. If you don't have something to hold on to, like the bottom of a chair, you can imagine that you're just grabbing an imaginary bar. You're really sticking that shoulder out to the side, and you can still lean your neck that way, right? We can still get those muscles getting real tense without actually physically holding on to something. Just imagining that you're grabbing something is good enough. All right. In general, hold on to something. Life will be easier. But if you don't have something, stick your arms out. Next, try to keep that head nice and neutral. Lean over to that side. Apply a little bit of pressure if you want to. Again, the pressure is going directly that way. We're not rotating. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just going straight out that way. And you're gonna feel that stretch here in the neck, maybe down into the shoulder. And we're going to continue by rotating the chin up just a little bit, and I'll shift the stretch forward along that muscle just a little bit. And then if we tuck the chin a little bit, it's going to shift that stretch a little bit further back. And hopefully you've got the whole side of your neck. Experiment with it. Figure out what feels good, what feels crazy, what feels like you need to spend more time on, and make sure you make a mental note because now you know how to do them. All right. And you can do these anywhere. If you're at the office, grab the chair, tilt the head. 10 seconds, 15 seconds is plenty to get a whole bunch of release in the neck. All right. Now, let's talk about the front of the neck. Your chin should be able to go real high up. When you do that, you should stretch out the muscles in the neck, in the front. For most of us, if you've been hunched over for a little bit, you got a hump, it might not be very comfortable for you to do this too intensely. So your version doesn't have to look like mine. All right. Try to lengthen the neck first, and then see if you can point the chin up. For full mobility in the neck, you should be able to look slightly behind you from wherever you're standing, wherever you're sitting. But if you've lost some of that mobility, that's okay. You can slowly work on looking up and seeing how far back you can see. All right. Now, when you're looking up, I want you to try and sink your whole body down. Just like how we were imagining grabbing something on the left side and imagining grabbing something on the right side, I want you to do both at the same time. Sink your whole body down and then tilt your neck up. That should help make this stretch a little bit more intense. If your body is completely relaxed, these muscles typically will work a little bit less intensely. If you go, huh, like you're trying to grab something while you extend your chin up into the air, these will feel a little bit harder. If you have a chair, you can just grab either side of the chair and lift up. If you stick your arms in front of you, that might help a little bit more, but it might not do very much. So it doesn't actually matter that much. Experiment. All right. Now that you have stretched out some of those neck muscles, you can do the same thing. If you tilt your chin just a little bit, you can feel it more in the left, right. If you tilt your chin the other way a little bit, you can feel a little bit more in the left, left, right, left, front, left, and front, right. All right, so you can aim the stretch just a little bit by tilting the head. Don't go crazy. Don't go. But take your time, experiment with the angles, and start stretching out some of those muscles. All right. Now the big one that most of us run into, because we are slouching, we're checking our phones, trying to look casual, but really we look like this, right? Or I don't know. Yeah, we're just going like this, reading whatever it is that we're reading. Now it's phone neck, right? But at some point that might have been reading neck, maybe sewing neck, right? Like there's always been a version of us going like this, and now it just might be worse than ever because everybody has a phone in their pockets. Whatever. From here, if your neck is getting real heavy, it's getting real tense, one of the things that you can do is just add some gentle movement, right? That tension is from lack of movement. It's not necessarily because your head is so heavy. It's partially because your head is so heavy when you're at this really not helpful angle, but a lot of it is just not moving very much, right? So if you give your head a little wiggle to the left, Little wiggle to the right, little wiggle to the left, little wiggle to the right. You try to lean over a little bit so that gravity is doing most of the work, pulling your head down. That will give you a little tiny bit of relaxation. You can also try to tuck your chin a little bit. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to touch your chin to your chest because that's a little too much. But if you tuck your chin just a little bit down and you apply a little bit of pressure and you try to grab at the backside of your neck, you pull it forward a little bit, not just pull down, but pull forward a little bit while you squeeze and you push and you prod. That should help relax some of the muscles in the neck, right? If you're doing any movement, because movement is good for you, make sure you're not going wild. You're not whipping your head back and forth, all right? You're not Willow Smith. You are just focused on adding some pressure onto those tight, tense muscles, adding some motion to help them move, get some blood flow to help them relax. And if you want, you can apply a little bit of pressure in that direction. Just give them a light stretch. It won't probably feel like that much when you're trying to pull your neck into that direction because your arms are probably not in the best position for applying that much force in that direction. But remember, the goal is relaxation. It's not trying to make your neck grow any longer. All right? Hopefully, this actually feels really nice. This is why I haven't turned around. I'm just enjoying the stretch myself. Hopefully, that feels a little bit better. And now you got some tools that you can apply to wherever you're sitting, standing, waiting for something to happen. All right? Now that we've covered the neck, let's talk about mobility. We just did some stretches to help relax some tension, right? This will be helpful when you have been sitting around for too long. Maybe you fell asleep on the plane, your neck over here is feeling crazy, whatever it is. But that doesn't address mobility, what your neck is supposed to be able to do. For most people, you should be able to look directly to your right, right? So if you keep your head neutral and you rotate all the way over to the right, you should be able to look directly to your right. And you should be able to do the same to the left, right? Keep your head neutral. It's not going like this, it's not going like this, it's neutral. Chin is not going up, chin is not going down, it's neutral. We're turning directly to the left. You should be able to look directly to your left, directly to your right, and bring it back to neutral. Your neck should also be able to go a little like this, right? We've been doing this for our stretches, but if you've ever wondered how far over to the side it should go, for most people, your neck should be able to get to the point where it's sort of like this, at like a 45-ish degree angle, and the same for the other. Now make sure you're not rotating your head while you're leaning to the side. That often happens. You also feel a crazy stretch in the places where we were talking about earlier when you do this. If you want to work on some mobility, some relaxation, it's totally cool to start your day with a little bit of gentle, slow, controlled looking to the left, looking to the right, 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 a little bit of tilting to the left, tilting to the right. If you do 10, 15 reps, because these are gentle, right? It's not like you're doing a crazy workout. If you do 10, 15 reps to start your day, to help loosen up first thing after you wake up, that might not be so bad for you. All right. Whew. Once you've done a couple of those, we've talked about rotating, we've talked about leaning. We can talk about now where you should be able to bring your chin down to your chest. So we're all probably going to be pretty good at this one because we've been practicing our whole lives. You can generally be able to touch your chin down towards your chest. And most of us probably don't need any practice for this one. All right. Most of us probably need a little bit of practice to bring our chin up into the sky. All right. To undo the chest down thing, the chin down chest thing. Your eyes should be able to look slightly behind you, like directly above you, slightly back. That is a healthy range of motion that most people should be able to achieve. If you've been slouching for a long time, for a couple of decades, you might not be able to get there right away. It might feel impossible for you. Maybe if you have a really big hump and your movement isn't coming from the hump, but it's coming from the last couple of joints really working and flexing super hard to go back up, that might not work out for you. That's okay. If you don't have those things, if you're still relatively not hunched over, you should be able to look straight up and you should be able to look slightly behind you without your chest popping open. All right, so coming from the neck. And you can work on that a little bit as well. All right, a lot of mobility is built and maintained from movement, right? If you never use it, if you never use, rotating to left or right, if you never use tilting your head, if you never look up, if you never look down, you're going to lose mobility because muscles are expensive, right? They're expensive on your body to keep. It's expensive to maintain, and you eat a lot, and they got to feed a lot of resources into keeping them. If you never use those things, your body's gonna be like, they don't use that. We don't need that anymore. Let's not maintain that. They try to be frugal with your calories, frugal with your resources, frugal with your nutrition, and so the best way to maintain your mobility, make sure that you can continue to move well, is to make sure that you add a little bit into your life. If you can find a fun way to do stuff, great. Some things like moving your neck up and down, I don't know if there's a really fun way to do most of those things. Maybe if you rock climb and your partner climbs really high and you're constantly going like this, maybe you're doing the chin up thing, but I don't know if you're doing any of the other things. All right, looking to the left, looking to the right. We barely check our blind spots these days. Nobody is checking the streets when you cross. Just neck's not getting that much movement. So it might make sense for you to be very thoughtful and just add it into something that you do as part of waking up, as part of wrapping up work, as part of your commute home. If you sit on the bus, sit on the train, maybe not if you're driving. Going like this is probably crazy if you are trying to be, focusing on traffic. But side to side, tilting, back and forth, those are all really good for you. And keep those in mind when you're trying to keep your neck healthy. All right. When you're able to move well, there's going to be less tension in the muscles. The less tension there's going to be less discomfort from your neck being all weird and gunky. All right. Hopefully, it gives you something to work towards, something to work on. Again, these are fast and easy, right? You don't have to whip, you don't have to contract the muscles super hard. It's just gentle movement. It doesn't even have to be fast. You can take them nice and slow. Even if you take them slow, it'll take like a minute. Cool? Um, Cappuccino says, I tend to crack my neck. I know I shouldn't. Honestly, I don't know anything about neck cracking. So I'm not going to comment any particular way about that. I have watched some chiropractor videos where people are going boom, 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 and it's like that's crazy. And I have actually, I think just last night, I saw a video where a chiropractor was like, "Have you been cracking your neck on your own to somebody?" And somehow he could tell that somebody was cracking his own neck, and I don't have any idea what that means. I got no idea. Um, New York City, Mexican says the clicking noise when I turn my neck side to side. That's not abnormal. All right. I also have a tiny little bit of a noise when I go left. Nope, nope, JK, when I go right at the very top part of the neck. I don't know if it's the same clicking noise as you, but it's normal for your neck to be making noises. You got lots of joints, you got lots of muscles, you got lots of things shifting around and like trying to figure out how to move. Especially if you don't do very much of this very often, your body's trying to figure out for the first time. There's going to be a whole bunch of soft tissue, fascia that is stuck in its like way and has grown to accommodate how you normally move, right? If you're moving a whole bunch of these things for the first time, you're like, oh, hey, look, my neck can move that way. Your muscles, your joints, your tendons, your brain cells literally have not figured out how to do this yet. So keep it up. Do a couple of days, chill, rest, do a couple more days, and over time, your body will adjust to what you're trying to do. All right. That applies in general to most things, right? A lot of people keep on training the same movement until they have muscle memory, right? And that's the brain getting really good at doing the same thing over and over again in your body, so you don't have to think about it. Um, it's not just building strength. It's not just getting used to it. Sometimes your tendons literally have to move out of the way and have to learn how to move out of the way so that you don't get like weird snapping pain in your hips, right? It takes practice, it takes time. Not everything comes instantaneously or should come instantaneously if you've never used it before, all right? So don't be discouraged. If it doesn't hurt, if you're not feeling pain, it should be okay. Cool? All right. What else we got? What's the time? We're at 9:51. I think there's like 200 of you online right now. We have been doing neck stuff for the last 20 or so minutes. I think we're gonna do one last round of lifting your legs up so that we finish with 3 rounds. We're gonna do one last round of wall angels, and then we'll wrap for today. All right. Keisha says, "Good morning, fam. We just dropped into the show to send some love, some good vibes. I'm at the chiropractor's office. I'll be on later tonight for some side splits." Amazing. Thank you for being here, Keisha. Ank you for sending good vibes. Appreciate you. Let's work on one last round of that back strengthening, that shoulder and anti slouching, and let's wrap up. We're getting back down on the floor. Lay down. If you are just joining in, you joined in for the next stuff, feel free to take this nice and easy. All right? What we're going to do is try and keep our hips nice and snug into the ground, push them in, and we're going to lift our backs up, we're going to lift our legs up. If you are just joining in, feel free to choose one or the other. You don't have to go all in and lift everything up right now. But if you were here for the older stuff since 9 a.m. this morning, 50 minutes ago, let's get ready to wrap up with our whole body. All right, let's go. Arms out in front of you. Try your best to stick the hips, stick your belly button into the ground. Lift, 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 lift. Inhale. Come on up. Turn yourself into a banana and slowly come down with control. That is 1 rep. Let's go again. Inhale up. Exhale down with control. That's 2. Keep going. Let's go. Flex those glutes. Inhale up. And down. That's 3. When you lift your legs, your glutes, your hamstrings, your everything, your calves should be flexing real hard. Whew, I think that's 4. Oh, man. Okay, let's go. Number 5. Y'all ready? Inhale up. Slowly come on down. Whew, that's 5. Again, up and down. That's 6. Focus on lifting your whole entire chest up. Just keep your maybe the bottom ribs down. That's 7. Maybe your belly button down, but see if you can lift everything else up. Let's go. Inhale up. 8. Hold, 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 hold. Slowly come on down. Whew. Oh, man, that's nice. All right, we got 9 and 10. Y'all ready? Take a second. Shake out your hips. Do a little wiggle. Flop around. Relax some muscles. They're probably tense as heck right now. Breathe. Let's go. 9 and 10. Ready? Inhale up. Hold, hold, hold. Keep on contracting. Keep on contracting. Keep on contracting. Slowly come on down. That's 9. Whew. All right. Last one. Let's go. Inhale up. Up, 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 up. Contract the glutes, calves, quads. I don't know. Everything. Arms, shoulders. Come on down. Oh, that's 10. Whew. Now that your back is thoroughly exhausted, let's get into some child's pose. Sit your butt back on your heels as best as you can. Flop your body over onto your hands. Rest your head down if you can. If you can't, that's okay. Don't worry about it. And see if you can do a little wiggle in your hips. Do a little wiggle in your spine. Maybe pretend you're a snake. Slither from side to side. Just get your spine to move a little bit. And hopefully relax a little bit. All right? You don't have to keep slithering. You can just focus on one side at a time. If you want, you can try to walk your hands really far over to one side and get a huge stretch on the side. Do the other side. Walk your hands over to the other side. Get a huge stretch here in the lats. And whew, let's do some cat cows. Let's help that back relax a little bit before we get into wall angels. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Drop that belly button. Lift the chin. Arch that spine. Breathe and do the opposite. Mid back is up into the air as high as you can lift it. Your chin is tucked to your chest. And let's switch again. Belly button down, chest and chin up. Mid back super high, chin tucked to the chest. And whew, just 2 of those should be enough. Hopefully, you're feeling a little looser. You're feeling a little bit more relaxed. And we're going to get into the hard stuff. It's time for some wall angels. All right. We talked about 2 different versions already on the show. We had the standing version, we had the seated version. You can pick whichever version you'd like. I think I'm going to do the seated version because I'm feeling lazy. Let's go. Butt up against the wall. I want your low back to touch the wall as much as possible. All right. I want your shoulders, your head all up against the wall. Then I want you to take your hands out in front of you. I want you to, boom, elbow the wall. And I want you to try your best to lift your hands up. All right. So the palms are facing forward. I want you to try to get your wrist to touch the wall behind you. And whew, that's it. That's the position that we're in. We're going to lift our arms up. Try to keep the forearms straight up and down. And bring that elbow back down. Maybe come a little lower than we started. All right. This whole time that we're doing this, I want you to try your best to get your wrists and your elbows up against the wall. If you can't get both, which most of us won't be able to, focus on just one and then see if you can do your bestest to get the other one close. All right. When you do this, you should be feeling a whole bunch of contraction in your shoulders. This movement should not feel fun. It should not feel comfortable. It probably feels awful, but that's why you need it, because this is flexing all the muscles that would be stretched out when you're slouching. And I completely forgot to count how many of these we've done. I feel like we've already done 5. Let's just do one more. Bring your arms up, elbows close to the wall, wrists close to the wall, bring it back down, and that's done. Oh man, if you did that right, and you're like most of us, not super strong back here in the shoulders, much better at slouching. The purpose of the wall angel was to work on countering some of that slouching stuff. All right. When we slouch, our shoulder blades tend to go out and we tend to round like this, right? When we did that exercise where we stuck our back up against the wall and then we stuck our elbows to the wall, that usually brings the shoulder blades back in. And then when we lift the arms up, it forces a whole bunch of these muscles in the back to contract really hard. And then when we go crazy and we try to lift our arms up and down, even though we're not carrying any meaningful amount of weight, forces all of these muscles to be really contracted and to keep firing going up and down. And that's going to be really good for strengthening some of those muscles that are usually stretched out and weak because all we do is slouch. All right. I think, oh, perfect. We're right at the hour mark. I think that is our show. We did 3 rounds of wall angels, nice and slow. The first time around, there was a lot more explaining. We did 3 rounds of the super intense Superman poses, lifting everything up. We did some warm up stuff. We did some neck stretching. We talked about mobility, which your neck should be capable of handling when you have a healthy neck. Not all of us currently have a healthy neck, so working towards that direction may or may not actually work for you. All right, but if you were born yesterday, your neck should be able to go all the way to the left, all the way to the right, up and down, and do a little bit of tilting. Cool. All right, I'm gonna take a look at the comments. I'm gonna see what has happened while I was way back over there, way too far to be able to read the chat, and I'll look at the comments to answer some of those questions that come in. Before I do that, though, actually, there is another live at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So in 11 hours tonight, 11 hours, we got a side splits and hip mobility live. That is our normal standard live. On the weekends in the mornings, we do this thing where we kind of work on posture, chill a little bit, have some back stuff, try to, be functional human beings. But in the evenings, most of the time, the show is about consistency. It's working on hip mobility. It's working on side splits. And if you're interested in that, please come back tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. All right? Whew. Is there anything else you need to know? Is there anything else you need to know? I make other content. Most of it is similar to this style of consistency, trying to make movement a part of your life instead of going out of your way to like go to the gym and do this very specific set of things for getting super strong. Most of us need movement. All right. So if you got 2 minutes, you're waiting for your microwave to heat up lunch or breakfast, or I don't know what else you're heating up. If you're waiting for coffee to come out of the machine so that you got your stuff, those 2 minutes can be a huge part of your workout. All right. If you could do calf raises for 2 minutes, that would be an insane number of calf raises. Say you do one per second, that's 120 calf raises, right? It'd be an insane number. Say you do one every 2 seconds, that's still 60 calf raises. That's a lot. If you could do the same for squats, could you do 60 squats nonstop? Could you do, I don't know, 30 Cossack switches from side to side? Probably not, right? So don't sleep on those 2 minutes. It might not sound like a lot, but if you take advantage of them, they're really, 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 really meaningful. And guess what? Throughout the day, they add up. All right. So if you like that type of idea and you're going to doom scroll anyway, make sure to hit follow, hit subscribe. Make sure to come into my content somewhere. Get reminded that your whole entire home, your office, the park, everywhere is an opportunity to get a little bit of exercise. And hopefully, you'll still have 30 seconds left to get a little set in. All right. For most of us, if your goal is not to find the most perfect way to build muscle at the fastest rate, movement is going to matter much more. All right. So take your time, throw it into some dancing, some grooving, some little bit of movement here and there. Move your neck, check your blind spot, do all those things, and that will be much better for you than whatever super strict other thing that you got going on. All right. Or maybe don't have going on. If you don't have anything else going on, just keep moving. Move. Find fun reasons to enjoy movement. Henny says, do you have a YouTube channel? I do. The YouTube channel is Splits on the side. So the same username as on TikTok. And most of the content there is going to be very similar. All of these lives are recorded and posted onto YouTube. So if you want to look at old videos for some reason, there's got to be like 300 plus recordings, live recordings over on YouTube. I make other content. Usually it's that short form content where I was just telling you we incorporate a little bit of movement into our lives. Sometimes I just find something cool on the internet. I'm like, I want to try that. And I go do some cool moves. Most of the time, it's little like home workouts, quick workouts. Usually 2 minute workouts are things that I do. 2 or 3 exercises that you can do in the kitchen, when you're walking home through the park, when you are, you know, about to exit the house and you're waiting for somebody to catch up, right? Your partner is taking way too long, getting that last drink of smoothie or whatever it is, taking way too long to exit the building. You're standing on the last step of your house. You got great exercises that you can do there, working on your knees, working on your balance. So everything is something you can use for exercise, and you should not sleep on it. That's basically what the rest of my content looks like. Cool? If that sounds cool, hit follow, hit subscribe, keep coming back. That's it. That's our live. We are basically done telling you about all the other stuff that we have going on. So I am going to take a look at the comments. Over on YouTube, Lily White says, hi. Hello. Ariel asks, what is your favorite type of food? I love mangoes. Mangoes are my favorite. Queen RR says, I can't see the chat right now, but I do look at it at the end. That is correct. That is what I do. I got another unique question. Mara says, what is your favorite dinosaur? Do I have a favorite dinosaur? No, I don't have. I like flying dinosaurs because they look the coolest. Because I used to play Neopets, and there was a game where you were a little cute bird, and then there'd be big bird dinosaurs coming to attack you. And that's it's the only thing I can think of when we're talking about dinosaurs. So I hope that answers your question. All right, I'm gonna scroll over, take a look at the TikTok chat. China says, get this man to 10K likes, y'all. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Oh, wait, where are we at? We're at 9.1. I would appreciate it if you tapped the like button a bunch more. But at this point, we're wrapping up the live, so it's not that important. Gigi says, my favorite live. Cappuccino says, I need to work on mid back stretches most, I think. That is very normal, right? Um, it's not easy to stretch on your mid back. There are a couple of things you can do at home that might help you do that. If you have a door or a door frame, you might be able to grab onto the door frame itself, kind of sit back and stretch out the mid back. If you can get one arm onto the door frame, you might be able to take it at a slight angle. Let's see. Imagine this is a door frame, right? Like your door frame is like this, right? I'm grabbing onto the door frame and I'm leaning back, letting this chunk of the shoulder, letting this chunk of the back, letting different parts of the body get stretched out, using that as a stable place to grip. Um, I'm thinking of other household things. If you have a really strong door, if you got really strong doorknobs, you can do the same with your doorknobs. But you know, one of the biggest amounts of, or the most common pieces of feedback I get when I say use your door frame, use your doors for exercises. My doors are made of paper, so that's not a good idea. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. But if you're not trying to rip the molding, the decorative stuff off the wall, the fact that you have a door frame typically means there's two chunks of wood in the door frame. So if you grab onto the angles where there's definitely wood in there, it's probably okay. It's supporting your whole entire building. It's gonna be okay. Anyways, what else we got? What else we got? Escalade says, how long does it take to learn the split for the average person? All right, so that depends on what the average person is. The average person probably spends I mean, also depends on how old you are, right? I think the younger you are, the easier it will be to probably get your split. The older you are, the longer you've been stuck in these patterns, and the more undoing of your training, your sitting training, you'll probably have to do. But if you've danced before, you've done some sports before, you've needed some flexibility at some point in the past, it's going to go much faster for you because you have a little bit of, uh, what am I going to call these? Like prerequisites? You've had some experience needing that flexibility, and so getting back to that old flexibility that you used to already have, that can go a lot faster depending on what you used to have. If you're building everything from scratch, from like really low amounts of mobility, low amounts of flexibility, it's typically going to take quite a bit longer. If you are just trying to get to a normal amount of flexibility, it's probably not going to be that crazy because at some point you had that normal amount of flexibility. But to get into the splits, because that's not a normal amount of flexibility, that's kind of a crazy amount of flexibility. It really depends. I have been working on side splits in the form of this live. So I guess realistically, it's like 3 minutes of side split stretching a day for hundreds of days, right? What I'm doing when we do the 9 p.m. lives is not the most effective way to get your splits. It is the most effective way for me to stay consistent so that I work on those side splits. But for most people, if you wanted to get like a super fast way of building up splits and you could stay consistent with it, you would probably want to jump into something called PNF stretching or contract relax stretching. And basically, when you're stretched out, you're flexing your muscles really hard to force your brain to realize, hey, you don't have to be tense. I'm being tense for you. Let the brain chill out so the brain relaxes, and then you go, haha, I tricked you, and then you relax too, and that gives you a little bit more depth, right? This is a really painful way to stretch for most people because you have to actively contract your muscles while in a very lengthened position. But you're building strength and mobility at the same time, and it tends to be much faster than compared to just sitting in a stretch position and waiting out the tension. Okay. I don't know why I stood up to show you waiting out the tension this high up off the ground, but most of the time in the live that we do in the evenings, the way I talk about it, the way I set it up, we're doing a waiting out the tension. We're doing a passive type of stretching, right? So if we wanted to separate the main types of stretching, there's passive and there's active stretching. Active stretching is more closer to the contracting and holding and tensing a whole bunch of muscles, tricking your brain, and then relaxing and getting a little bit deeper. All right. Ugh. Depending on how much suffering you want to do, it can go faster and it can go slower. You can still get the splits from the passive version of stretching. Typically, it takes a bit longer, but you don't have to work that hard, and you can possibly just be sitting there watching TV the whole time, right? But if you want to do the active version, your muscles are going to be tired. Your brain is literally going to be tired because you're going to be contracting those muscles really, 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 really hard. You're going to be like, holding that tension until you get to a point where you're like, okay, relax. I've already tricked my brain. It's time to take some of that stuff that I've earned. And typically, you'll be much sore because you're basically flexing really hard at a really weak point in your range of motion. And if that's how you want to do it, you generally are sacrificing a little bit of your other types of workouts because your brain's going to be really confused. Yeah, so do the contract relax not at the beginning of the day, do it towards the end of the day when you're about to go to bed because it's going to make your muscles all weird for the rest of the day. So don't do that before you go play sports. That would be a bad idea. Anyways, that was a really long roundabout way of talking about stretching. I hope some part of it was useful. I'm gonna keep scrolling. Gigi says my favorite live. Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sus says it's great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna keep scrolling. See if there's any questions, comments that I need to address. And ooh, Cappuccino says any good thoracic spine stretches. I have floating rib syndrome and it hurts so bad. I honestly have no idea what that means. So I'm going to just say no, I don't have any recommendations for that. I'm sorry. You're going to have to find somebody with more expertise because I don't want to recommend anything that'll be painful for your floating rib syndrome. Okay. Liz D430 says, oh, yeah, I felt that. I think I saw that come in for the neck stretches. Gigi says, please give us some exercises for stomach muscles too. Absolutely. Okay. Depending on how intense you want to get and what you have set up, there's lots of different ways for you to get these muscles worked out. If because today we did a whole bunch of stuff on the floor. If you got floor stuff, you don't have to get super fancy with it. To contract these muscles, you can literally just lift your hips up, lift your legs up, lift your torso up, and contract those muscles that way. In gymnastics, there's a skill called the hollow body hold. I really like that skill because it transfers over to doing handstands. It transfers over to doing cool things like planks. And if you want to work on that core using very little setup, there's always crunches, there's always sit ups, there's always leg lifts, there's always a hollow body hold that looks like this, which is basically a plank. All right? Except, you're using the opposite side of the body to do most of the lifting. Whew. Is there other stuff? There's so many different things that you can do with your core. If you're interested in building some skills that look cool, like the L sit, which is basically having your arms lift your butt up while keeping your legs out in front of you. Just the process of working that and trying to lift your legs up is going to get your core really working. Your core and your hip flexors do a lot of work when you're lifting your legs up. Doesn't matter if you're laying down and lifting your legs up, or if you are sitting up nice and tall and lifting your legs up, or if you are holding onto a pull-up bar and you're doing hanging leg lifts and trying to bring the leg up. You can emphasize more on the hip flexor versus the core, or more on the core versus the hip flexor. That is going to depend on how you decide to work those muscles because you got more than just stomach muscles going up and down the front of your body. But that's a lot of exercises. All right, you can pick probably two of any of those, and they can take you really, 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 really far. If you're a beginner, just pick two. Don't have to get fancy with it. Preferably, pick one or two for the front, maybe one or two for the sides, because your core is way more complicated than just these front muscles, right? For show, obviously, the six pack is important to everybody, but the actual core that helps keep you stable, that helps keep you athletic, that helps you to move, to twist, to jump, to, I don't know, dash from side to side. I'm just making stuff up now. That core is a whole bunch of different muscles, right? There's the abs in the front. There's obliques on the side that help control whether or not you can bend, whether or not you can twist, or the opposite, not twisting, right? And extend, right? The back, these muscles back here, are also part of the core. And we did a whole bunch of that type of work when we were doing those Superman lifts, right? Trying to work on our posture a little bit. We're trying to strengthen those back muscles, trying to strengthen the core muscles. So hopefully my list of random exercises plus how to kind of vaguely put them together for your own use, perhaps not overemphasizing the stomach muscles so much that you neglect the muscles on the sides, the muscles in the back, is good enough information to help you on your way. All right, let's go. What else we got? I'm scrolling backwards, by the way, to see what we have for questions as they came in through the show. And I'm going to take a look. Liz says, so much tension. I think that was in the neck stretches. Chronic asks, can you do stretches for hip adductors? I can. If you're still on, let me know, and we'll address it. QD Eclipse says, yes, please. We're grateful for this amazing live. One more heart to reach the goal. Oh, what's the goal? Oh, snap. We're at 13,000. That's awesome. I'm reading this chat backwards, so I don't I don't even know how the order makes sense, but the previous comment was like, hey, we should keep tapping. So that's awesome. What is going on? So thank you. Thank you for tapping the screen. I appreciate it. QD Eclipse sending awesome emojis. We got some spam. I'm going to keep scrolling to see what else we got. It looks like it was really quiet for a little bit. Travel with Roxy sending smiley emojis. Travel with Roxy answering questions about how I can't see the comments yet. So let's see, where is that comment so I can try my best to answer it. Oh, I can't. I don't see it at all. I have scrolled all the way. I don't know where Peanut Butter's comment is. Do you see it? You responded peanut butter, chocolate. He good for your right arm and your right leg. Both feel stuck a little. Okay, that might be a little bit of a complicated question because there's lots of joints in a leg and there's lots of joints in an arm. If you're having some issues with your right shoulder, you might want to start with something that looks like this. If and you can experiment with how you rotate your arms. But I want you to try and bring your shoulder back behind you and bring your hand back behind you to work that shoulder without doing crazy things with your back. All right. So keep your back nice and straight. Bring that shoulder up back behind you. And then you can rotate and change the angles. So right now my pinky is behind me and I'm lifting up. Now my palm is lifting behind me. My thumb is lifting behind me. That's going to change your arm muscles that are getting stretched when you're doing this, but your shoulders are mostly doing the same thing all the way through. And then I want you to do the opposite. Bring that arm all the way up. Face your thumb back. Bring it back. Try to bring it back without, doing this with your spine. All right. Keep it nice and neutral, and see if you can lift up. And you can do the same by rotating your arms a little bit and see how that impacts it. That will help get your arms in that sort of range of motion. Your arms are going to do a whole bunch of other, ranges of motion. There are generally stretches like to bring your shoulder that way, and you can open up your chest the other way. One way to open up your chest is to stick your palms against the wall, let your arm hang out against the wall, right, like this, and then rotate your upper body so that you're getting a huge stretch here in the chest. You can turn any of those movements into an exercise. So if you are actively, for example, pushing into the wall while you're stretched out here and trying to move the wall or move yourself, that contraction will also strengthen up those muscles and that will help you move a little bit better. Same for the arms, right? You've probably seen people who lift dumbbells up or go like this or like that, whatever. Same principles apply. If you are struggling with mobility, you might need a combination of strength and flexibility. You can work on that mobility by lifting your arms, bringing them up to crazy places. But if you need strength, you can add some weight, some resistance. Sometimes using the using just a dumbbell isn't going to make much sense when your arms are straight up and down because gravity is just pulling you down, right? It's not resisting against you lifting up. Sometimes it might make sense for you to go get some elastic bands, tie it up against something, and pull your arm back against that band, right? Because the band would be somewhere over there and you'd be pulling back. If you're at a gym, some of those cable machines are really good at strengthening that whole range of motion. And then you said right arm and right leg. The right leg feeling stuck, I imagine you're talking about your hips, just like I talked about the shoulders. I'm going to talk about the hips. Um, your hips are designed, just like your shoulders, are designed to go in a whole bunch of different directions, right? So there's this move that I do in the evenings with our hip mobility and live side splits show called the hip car. And it is about very intentionally bringing your leg at that hip through a ton of range of motion so that you are forcing yourself to move really well. And if you're struggling with your right arm and your right leg, you should probably come down to the ground and start on the floor. All right. When you're here, we're going to get into that same position that we were doing the cat cow in. Hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, and we're going to lift one leg. I want you to start by bringing that knee up as high as you can, like you're trying to knee yourself in the face, right? And then I want you to open up. I want you to lift that leg up as high as you can, like you're a little dog peeing on a fire hydrant, right? I think these are called fire hydrants. When you do that, you're going to feel a huge contraction in the side of your butt, right? And from here, I want you to rotate that leg. So we're going to take that knee, instead of pointing it forwards, we're going to bring it down. We're going to lift that ankle up as high as we can, and then we're going to keep rotating. Then, from there, we're going to bring that leg down and back. We're going to try and lift that leg up without putting too much bend at the spine. And then we'll restart by bringing the knee in, out, ankle up, down and back. In, open, ankle up, down and back. In the live stream that I do in the evenings, we do it standing. It looks a little bit more like this. But it's the same general movement. That will help you work your way through a whole bunch of movement that's available to your hip and slowly figure out what's causing you to struggle the most, right? When you lift your leg up, it's going to be a different set of muscles. When you open up your leg to the side, it's going to be a different set of muscles. When you lift the leg back behind you, it's your hamstrings, your glutes, you're going to feel a stretch in your hip flexors. It's going to be a different set of muscles. And you can find which ones force you to struggle the most so you can start training those to be better at their jobs. Hopefully, that gets you some information to get started. All right, I'm going to scroll all the way back down and see what else we got. 48 messages supposedly came in since I started rambling, and it seems like there's a bunch. Hold on. I saw this. Travel Doxy says splits on the side is the username. Lisa G says good morning. And he says, is it okay to stretch every time? Because I love it, but I heard that I could get hurt. It depends on how hard you're stretching. If you're not stretching very hard, or if you break up the stretching to a bunch of different muscles, it'll be fine, right? Like if you do an upper body bunch of stretching for your spine, for your posture, and then the next day you do a whole bunch for your lower body, that will probably be fine because those aren't going to impact each other. The chances that you'll get hurt from stretching tends to be because you don't have enough time to recover and your muscles are getting a little too much exposure. Or maybe your tendons are getting a little too much exposure. Your tendons typically are going to be really, really, really strong. And you're probably not going to hurt a tendon in regular stretching. If you're doing something super ballistic, dynamic stretching is possible, I guess. But usually, if you're doing something that intense in a sport while sprinting, while colliding into someone, while wrestling or whatever it is, you'll have much more intense impact on the tendons. Um, it just depends on how intense you're stretching. If every single time you stretch, you get to a point where you're like, oh my gosh, my leg feels like it's gonna get ripped apart. You probably don't want to do that every single day, right? You can do the stretch the next day, but you maybe want to do it at 50% intensity instead of 100% intensity, right? So if you control the intensity, you can do whatever you want with your time. But if you're just trying to give 100% and only 100%, and you're, super gun ho about it, then maybe you should take a day off. And, if you're super optimizing for this is the exact hour, how can I make sure this hour is the best possible hour that has ever existed for my body? You might want to take a day off. You might want to relax. You might not want to do it every single day. All right. But if you enjoy the feeling of stretching, which it sounds like you do, and you just want to stretch, you can just control the intensity. You can do 100% on days you feel really good. You can do like 50% days when you're a little stiff, you're not feeling so great, and you just want to relax because relaxation in and of itself is valuable, right? Eddie says, do a backflip. No, thank you. I'm not trying to hurt myself. We got lives twice a day on the weekends. True Blue says, good morning, Hip Mobility family. Welcome back, True Blue. It's good to see you. And we got a whole bunch of back and forth. Everybody's sending good vibes to each other. Lovely. Hanny says, "My legs and back. I love back bends and splits too. I have horrible back mobility. So one of the things I do want to work on soon is the back bridge. I have some old back injuries back in the day, so I'd really like to address some of the clunkiness, the weakness in my spine, and I am looking forward to getting to that soon. I'm really trying to wrap up these side splits. Like it'll still be a workout, but I'm trying to transition so we have like a full body suite of doing cool stuff. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, I'm gonna keep scrolling. Keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. GZ says thank you, amazing. I'm gonna keep scrolling, and Travel Rocky says yes, I'm pretty sure. Wow, hip cars on the floor seem way more doable. Thanks for this. I have more balance on the floor. Great. Please do hip cars on the floor. I actually think they're harder. I think there's a whole bunch of different muscles that have to work significantly harder when you do them on the floor. But hip cars are hip cars. You're bringing yourself to that range of motion. You're fighting gravity, right? So please, that's a good reminder. I'll try to do some on the floor tonight live and break it down a little bit more thoroughly than I otherwise would because it'll be on the floor versus our standing regular one. And I'll try to sprinkle it in more often so that there's a little bit more variety. And for the people who are struggling with the balance component of the hip cars, you got something else to do because the balance portion sucks. But for most people, working on that one-legged balance is going to be really good. It's just going to make you really tired, but it's going to be really good for long-term, walking around, balancing, and that type of stuff. So it's it's not something we shouldn't do. It's just something that you don't have to do every single day. All right. And he says, thank you. And Summer asks, when I do glute bridges, I just feel it in my quads. Oh, okay, good. We can talk about that. I got you. I got you. If you change how close you have your heels to your butt, you'll change how intense that stretches or where you'll feel it. Because your quads contracting, when they contract, their job is to straighten the leg, right? That's what the quads contraction job is. When it's relaxed, its job is to be chill so that your ankle can come to your butt. So if your ankle is real close to your butt, and then you were to do a glute bridge, the only set of muscles that is lifting you up to straighten out your back, right, to close this shape, is your glutes. So keep your ankles a little closer, and your quads should do a little less work. All right. But if you're not feeling your glutes, because your glutes are really strong, you got lots of different variations. One of them is you can just get rid of one leg and try to do a glute bridge off of one side and down and up and down. It's totally normal for you to feel it in the quads because when your glute comes up, this is basically a quad stretch, right? So if you're feeling a stretch, that's okay. And if you want to make the glute bridge a little bit more intense, I'm trying to think different ways we can do that. I think if you extend your legs out, you're going to have to flex harder in the glutes, but your quads are going to feel even more intense. So I'm not sure that that solves your problem, but give that a try. Abran asks, what are hip CARs? CARs is an acronym. It's capital C, capital A, capital R. And we do hip CARs kind of like this. If you were standing, your goal is to bring your leg in that hip socket through its full range of motion. And we do something that looks like this. We're lifting the knee up as high as we can using our own muscle power. Then we're going to open up that leg so that you're contracting your glute muscles to pull that leg open to the side, pull that leg directly out. We're going to keep on contracting the muscles to lift that knee up. Then we're going to rotate. We're going to bring the ankle up, bring the ankle up some more, bring the ankle up some more, bring the ankle up some more, bring the ankle up some more until you're about to cramp up in the hamstrings. Then we bring the leg down and back. We flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes, lift that leg back behind us so that we kind of hit all of these different ways to move our legs in that hip socket. The reason why this came up today was because there is other versions, other ways to do the hip car. If you are on all fours, you can pull your knee forward. You can lift that leg up to the side. You can rotate, bring the foot up into the sky. You can extend and stick that leg up and back behind you and then start over. All right. So those are basically hip cars. If you Google them, there will be lots and lots of different videos. Some will have slightly different tweaks. For me, I tend to say bring the knee up directly in front. Technically, you've got a little bit of range of motion for the knee to go in that away a little bit, all right, before you open up. So different people will go slightly differently. And while I say bring the knee straight up and down, physically, oftentimes I'm doing a little bit of bringing it over and trying to stretch out the muscles and really contracting at the hip. So hopefully that gives you an idea what hip cars are, and hopefully that they're useful for you. True Blue says they are amazing torture, but I always feel better when I do at least 5 of them. Good, good. They wake up a whole bunch of muscles that usually don't have to do very much when we spend most of our time sleeping or sitting. Sorry, sleeping. They probably don't do very much when you're sleeping either, but I meant to say sitting. And I think that is all of the chat on both TikTok and YouTube. No Blank asked if I'm colorblind. I am not colorblind, but seems kind of random. There's we're gonna wrap up. All right, it is 10:35. We've been running for about 95 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the live. I hope you enjoyed the relatively low intensity back exercises because we did them with lots of rest. We warmed up slowly, working up different little muscle groups until we were doing the Supermans all the way at the end. Hopefully, those wall angels made you suffer like crazy, and now you know sometimes how to anti slouch. What else did we talk about? Had a bunch of questions about all sorts of things. I can't remember anything specific other than hip cars at the moment, so I'm not going to say anything about that, and I'm going to wrap up. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in, practicing a little bit of movement, taking care of yourself. We got another live tonight at 9 p.m., which means it is in 10 hours and 24 minutes. That live is going to be our standard side splits and hip mobility live, where we open with the warm up exercise, the hip cars that we've been talking about. And I'll see you there in 10 hours and 24 minutes. Make sure to hit follow, hit subscribe, keep coming back because I do this live every single day. Well, not this specific thing live. I do the side split thing live every single day. This thing where we do back stuff and have a little bit more fun, that is on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday mornings, which means it's also tomorrow morning. So if this time works for you, tomorrow morning, come on back. All right. Thank you so much. I'm closing out, crawling over to hit the off buttons, and I don't think anything else has popped into the chat. So goodbye, Gigi. Goodbye, Hanny. Goodbye, True Blue. And Hanny, I think this might be the first time I've seen your comment. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Cool. All right, closing out.